I'm not only glad to be black, I think black people are incredibly important to planet Earth, because whatever it was, we found a way to love through it. And that's what we're going to have to find a way to write about. We who were enslaved found a way to cook, to dance, to laugh. We found.
Good evening, this is your man H-Rap B. This is Goddess Community on the End of the Bench Media. Thank you for tapping in. As usual, I have a whole lot of time. I'm not here for a long time. I'm here for a good time. And tonight is not going to be a good time. I'm going to talk about mental change. But before I do that, I want to thank my parents, Dolores and John. Dolores is my mother, John is my father. They came together, created me. They took the time to create me. I took the time to create this. And you are dedicating some of your valuable time to watching this. So I will, and I shall give you something to think about. Mental change. At one point, my community, and let me start off by saying this. I'm going to address a few people innocuously. I'm not going to say your name, but I'm going to address some people who've come to me and they've said things. I am speaking directly to my tribe. The planet of Earth is a collection of tribes. I'm speaking to my tribe. But when you speak to my tribe and my tribe engages, we are the tide that lifts all boats. So if I'm speaking to my tribe, we get healthy, and then everything around us gets healthy. Guess what happens? The whole world benefits from us being better. So that's why I speak directly to my tribe. It's not shade. It's not disregard. It's not anything of any negative connotation. What it is I must fix my house before I try to fix your house. Now, back to these chains. At one point, my tribe was in chains in these United States of America. In the United States, slavery was the order of the day. They built an entire empire on the backs of my community. And when you build an entire empire on the backs of a community, what happens is somebody has to suffer. And we've been suffering for quite some time now. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because we exchanged those mental change for physical change for mental change. We've exchanged those physical change for mental change. And the reason I say that is this: we've become slaves to the rhythm, metaphorically speaking. We are attempting to participate in a system that has rejected us for 400 years, 498 years to be exact, 339 years of enslavement, 163 years of 162 years of emancipated behavior, because there is no freedom until you free your mind. You don't have to be physically chained down. You don't need chains. If your mind isn't where it needs to be, you will struggle into perpetuity. And this is why I want to address this thing. We are struggling, ladies, gentlemen, haters, and bitter friends. We are struggling at this point. What we do is identify things that won't benefit us. We talk about things as they are shown to us, and we address problems. This is one of the chains that is wrapped around our mind. We will only see what's wrong. We are not a solution-based community at one point, because at one point in the history of this country, we used to be a solution-based community because we had no other choice. Everybody knows the problems, and that's the same thing it is now. Everyone knows the problem. But before I continue, what I want you to do is, if you're looking for my old work or anything that I have done in the past, present, or if you just want to check me out, you can go to www.theendofthebench.com, TheEndofthebench.com. So watch as much of my work as you can. It has 3 pages of H-Rap interviews, conversations, and things of that nature. I want you to check it out. Please go check it out. Do yourself a favor. Tell a friend to tap. Now, when I'm doing this, I just want to thank, first and foremost, everyone for the support. And then I'm going to get right into this, because Goddess Community is about uplifting the community. Everything in the history of this community that has been towards emancipation, that has been towards uplifting, that helped galvanize us, has been immersed in the creator universe. Jehovah Jireh, God, Allah, or whatever you want to address him as, Yahweh, however you want to address him, it has been stoked in the creator. And that's why this program is called Goddess Community, because without God, the community will continue to suffer. The community has been suffering for quite some time. And what I'm going to do is address the last 40 years. No, excuse me, the last 58 years. The last 58 years is when we really took a downward spiral. We used to have this immense amount of pride in our community. Our community used to be stoked in pride, and it seems that that pride is dissipating by the day because we attempt to inculcate ourselves into a system that, again, has rejected us for 400 plus years. Why are we attempting to date the person who does not like us? We now that we have suits and ties and businesses, and we're everything from struggling financially to billionaires, and now we can be accepted in the in crowd. I don't want to be accepted in a crowd that didn't want to accept me from the beginning. I don't want to be a part of that crowd. That crowd does nothing for me. It has nothing for me, and it will never do anything for me, because if you didn't want me when I didn't have anything, I don't want you to want me on top. Everybody loves the most beautiful person in the world, but can you love me with tattered clothes and I'm homely looking, or I look as if I'm struggling? And at one point we were struggling, and every step of the way, you have the enslavement period, you have the Reconstruction period, then you had redlining, Jim Crow segregation, you have the big deal. You have we have a progression, and once you ever notice in this country and throughout the history of these United States of America, they never talk about the 20s, 30s, and 40s. They talk about the middle of the 50s up to today. You know why? Because in the 20s, 30s, and 40s, we were mentally emancipating ourselves. We had stores. We had businesses, we had bars, we had entertainment spots, we had Negro League basketball. That's something that nobody ever talks about. We had Negro League baseball. You had people like Fritz Pollard putting the legs under the NFL, being a coach and a player. And as usual, once they use us up, they don't need us anymore. What I want you to understand is this: we can no longer live in that reality. The 1955 to 1968 civil rights movement was a wonderful time in our history. But what they've done is turn Dr. King's dream against us. It's like a rabid pit bull at this point. Dr. King said, see, people look at the Eyes on the Prize videos, and they look at those things and they say, hey, man, I wouldn't have sat at no lunch counter. See, you missed the point. Dr. King didn't have his supporters sitting at lunch counters to eat lunch and get poisoned or get their food spat into. It was a show that I have the right to be here. And it wasn't about the lunch counter. It was about the hospital. Do you understand that they were turning us away from hospital? People are dying. That's why in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Black people, they created the ambulance. Yes. The ambulance is created by us. The ambulance is created by us. And I'm going to make a statement that I will follow up on the next segment, on the last segment of the show. The ambulance was created by us. But at this point, we're not creating anything, but we're wasting time. We are not being the creative people we are. We're not being the geniuses we are. Well, we are screen agers. We are screen agers. If you don't understand what I mean by screen age, you got a teenager, and that is one of the most impressionable people in the history of these United States of America. This is a person who has very little experience, and what he's doing is doing whatever he sees, and it seems palatable. This teenager is going to do it because he has no life experience. Every day you get a little smarter. As a teenager, you're just automatically starting to develop who you are. You're testing the boundaries, you're testing your parents and things of that nature. And at this point, we have become screen agers. And why do I call us screen agers? Because when you are a screen ager, you're a victim of the screen. You know, at one point, they used to call the television the idiot box. Oh man, the idiot box, the idiot box, you're not going to learn anything, but it's a new idiot box. You see that thing in the palm of those two hands? It's that cell phone. Instagram, Twitch, Twitter, Blue Sky, Facebook, Spill, Fan Base. These are some of the most popular social media platforms in the United States of America. There's a lot of propagandized information. There's a lot of AI put on there. It is one big hoax. It is the new idiot box. Why are we paying so much? We don't even do the research to get the proper information anymore, but we are screen agents. All we do is pay attention to the screen. Did you see this on Facebook? Did you see this on Twitter? Did you see this here, there, and everywhere? And a lot of us are college educated doing this. I know people who are college educated. They're not doing exactly what their degree said. Find 3 sources and then speak on it. Then put it in your paper. Then put it in your dissertation. Then present it to the world. We're not doing that. The first thing we see, oh, William Refrigerator Perry died a month ago, but he's still alive because nobody, the people who did it, I saw, rest in peace, William Perry. You are sitting here with a device that can tell you if someone is alive or dead. Type it in. Bam. A couple of days ago, Chicago College basketball legend Al Frederick Hughes, rest in peace, passed away. I didn't check it. I looked at it and I said, yeah, whatever. And I looked it up and it didn't say it, but the next day it showed that he had passed away. And I'm not saying that everybody, hey, if you want to tell the world or you want to be the first to say something, look it up, look into it. Otherwise, you're participating in the madness that is social media. It is an idiot box. It does distort the truth. It does gives you a portion of the truth, and more than likely the portion that you're getting is an erroneous portion. This is why we follow the fools that we follow now. This is why that's why they have so much power in the community. At one point, I'm old enough to remember, if you said something about they to somebody, people will ask you, who the hell is they? Who is they? People don't do that anymore. They rule the world at this point. They are the people who give you the information. This is why we have people like the President of the United States or Pete Hegseth or any of these people who are running the United States federal government right now. This is why they're in play. This is why they're in power, because they run the world. Because it was a saying, I think it was about 100 years ago, a lie gets halfway around the world before the truth pulls his pants up. And if that's the case, these lies are getting all the way around the world because we are living in a movie called Wag the Dog. When the president gets in, I can't think his name right now. It's not Woody Allen, but anyway, I'll tell you who he is in a second. It was a movie in which the president got into a conundrum and he created a fake war to make people not look at what he was doing wrong, what he was doing incorrectly. That's exactly what we're doing. We're at war with a country that we had a treaty with that they were honoring. You know why? Because we are foolish enough to look over that. They're going to attack if they was going to. Why would you attack the biggest dog in the world? The United States military is 28 times larger than the next country, and the next country is an ally of the United States of America. So that means for every one soldier Britain has or England has, we have 28. For every one ship we have, every one ship they have, we have 28. Every one tank that we have 28. So why we are literally in an argument with a country that does not have the power or does not have the ability or will to attack this country. Because I'm not gonna say us, because I ain't done anything to anybody. I ain't nobody attacking me, but I live here. So we're looking into this idiot box. We're looking at opulence we're looking at style versus substance. We don't engage in substance anymore. If we get engaged in substance, there's no way Ronald Reagan would have been the president. There's no way W. Bush would have been the president, and there's no way this dude would have been elected twice. But he's a businessman because you've been told money is king. Instead of praising God, you praise money. Money is your God, and that's the only way a guy like this can be in charge of. Look at the people he's nominated. He has nominated a bunch of clowns before goofballs, and because all you hear about is money, money, money. Meanwhile, you got people getting their Medicaid and Medicare taken away from them. How can you take Medicare away from an elder? So you mean to tell me in somewhere in your idiotic world, it's okay to stop elders from going to the hospital? Would you want that to happen to your parents? Would you want that to happen to your child? Do you want your children to do that to you? But we're allowing it. You have SNAP benefits. What do? They show the poorest and the most needy, and then they show somebody who looks like me. a young lady that looks like me, where she should have known better. Again, I'm gonna use this metaphor. We're looking at people. We're looking at Phyllis. We're looking at Dolores. We're looking at Monica, Monique. Jesus Christ. We're looking at Monique, and we're looking at them as generals. These people are generals. They raise children all on their own. They become college educated and become successful individuals all on their own. And what do? We shun them. We disrespect them. We disregard them. And how do we pay them back? Are we not going to give other people like them? Well, we're going to make them the poster children for success. Yeah. Is Monique a successful individual and has several businesses going? Yes, she does. Yes, she does. Did Annette raise 3 wonderful people? Yes, she did, and become successful and worked her way up into state employment. Has Phyllis overcome several obstacles? Yes, she has. But they are not the standard. They are above the standard. They are the exceptions to the rule. They are the exceptions to the rule. So guess what? The military grades you as an enlisted man, a private, a corporal, a sergeant, a lieutenant, a captain, a major, a colonel, and a general. Those 3 are just 3 of the examples of women who are generals. Everybody is not a general. Some people are 4-star general. Some people are 5-star generals. Some people do anything they can to survive. And then we judge people. Oh, man, you shouldn't be a drug dealer. You know what? We really don't want people poisoning our people. But you know what? When you put someone in survival mode, don't tell them to think the way you think and you're living comfortably, or you've made the right decision, or you have the proper environment around you. This is why we always delve into this madness about crabs in the barrel. If you ever get a chance to go to the Caribbean and you look down at some of that clear water and you can see the floor of the ocean, you see sea creatures walking, you see crabs, you see other crustacean walking around on the floor of the sea. They're not fighting. They're not trying to destroy each other. They're not at each other's throats. But you know what? If you put them in a confined area in which they are afraid of the next moment of their life, they are going to attack. And that's what we've been put in. When you put us in the community, like the south side of Chicago, like the west side of Chicago, like the near north side of Chicago where I was raised, you have people conducting themselves in survival mode. So don't judge them. See, again, let's not talk about the very worst of the situation. Let's not talk about the very best of the situation. Let's talk about the people in the middle. See, because every general, Phyllis, Monique, Dolores, Annette, Dolores, same person, my mama, when you don't have them be the standard, because they went above and beyond, they jumped over 50 walls, they fought pit bulls, they fought bears, they fought all kinds of things to be who they are. Let's talk about the people in the middle. See, because in order to be a general, you have to have a standard set in front of you. You have to have the proper support. You have to have a 4-star general, my grandparents, their parents, grandparents. You must have friends. You must have that church that aforementioned church that I spoke about. You must have people around you. You must have a wonderful lieutenant. You must have a wonderful captain. You must have a wonderful major. See, we don't think about the people around these people or giving them support. They must have my older sister, Bo, who was my mother's colonel. Phyllis was a captain. I was a private, man. I was just there. I had to follow orders. See, my mother set out orders. Monique set out orders. Phyllis set out orders, and they went out and did what they had to do so people like myself could be successful. Phyllis taught me how to read before I got to first grade. I knew how to read walking into Head Start and kindergarten because I had Colonel Phyllis. I had Colonel Phyllis. I had Captain Phyllis. I had Colonel Bo, because the general just set the orders out and they had to follow them. And then she followed up on those orders. See, so don't look at Annette, don't look at Monique, don't look at Phyllis and say, if they can make it, anybody can make it, because everybody don't have what they have. Some of us are made to be sergeants. But see, when we continue to look at this idiot box, what we do, we don't think. We just regurgitate foolishness and madness from the mouths of everybody on television, everybody in this little screen, and we believe lies, and we allow people to dupe us and put us in situations in which we have no control over. You're not thinking on your own. You're regurgitating foolishness. Oh man, these young people don't need SNAP benefits. Well, if the young lady who has 2 children out of wedlock and 2 different fathers, oh well, she's the wrongest person in the world. How about supporting her? And guess what? With that support, you'll uplift her. If you uplift her, she becomes the next Monique, the next Phyllis, the next Annette. That's who she becomes. But if you denigrate her, she becomes the next girl who feels bad about herself. She could potentially start putting poison in her body. She start believing the lies that she's no good. And then the man who impregnates her and walks away. Why does he walk away? Because he didn't receive the proper attention from the men in his life. He didn't have a Jimmy Fields. He didn't have a Fat Larry. He didn't have a Black Larry. He didn't have Uncle Rory. See, these are the men who were around me, who uplifted me. He didn't have an Uncle Theo. He didn't have Uncle Otis and Stanley and Uncle Rich. See, so he didn't have the structure around him. So when he breaks left, he may not have it. And guess what? Sometimes you have all these men around you and you still go down the wrong path. But do those men kick that person in the face? But on the screen, we do. Look at these stupid young people. Young people aren't stupid. I told you, young people are like a cake. And all of the ingredients never change to a cake. The chefs change. The chefs change because, see, I can remember my grandmother never said anything negative to me. She told me what not to do. But if I messed up, she scolded me, told me not to do it, and picked me up, dusted me off, and I'm going to do it the right way. Are we doing that to young people now? Or are we just telling them, are we standing around telling people, oh, man, these young people aren't no good. They aren't any good. They're bums. Get rid of them. You're lazy. They don't want to work. No, actually, young people do want to work. See, when you got a nation of young people that do want to work, they just don't want to work for the system. See, because young people realize that the system has done us no good. But see, because we're screen ages, we're no longer paying attention. How many of us sit down and talk to our elders? When last time you had a conversation? You may not have your grandmother if you're my age, because I don't have either one of my grandmothers. You may not have, but when last time you talked to somebody 10, 15, or 20 years older than you? When last time you talked to somebody your parents' age? Hey, guess what? Watch this. How'd your parents meet? Do you know that? See, these are things that you need to know instead of looking at the Megan Thee Stallion, Klay Thompson breakup. Maybe you need to find out who you are, where you came from, and how you got here. See, because when you find out who you are, where you came from, you got here, you'll create some type of pride in yourself. You'll get pushed into a success mode because, oh, that's how it happened. So what's up with this? And now you're asking more questions. You building pride. You're creating a foundation, and you putting yourself in a situation to whereas you are proud of who you are. And guess what? I found out some things that are not so flattering about my inception. But guess what? It helped me understand who Annette was. It helped me understand why Phyllis and Bo got here. I've had conversations. I understand who I am and how lucky I am to be here. Because we live in a time in which our parents could have changed their mind about us, but they didn't. And you know what? And then they start pouring into us to the best of their abilities. They make mistakes. Everybody's parents makes a mistake. Hey, most of the people that's watching this, they have children. If you're perfect, then damn it, man, you should write a book, save the world, since you got all the answers. But seeing how you don't have all the answers, maybe you need to participate in something like a church, like a community group, like the NAACP, like the Urban League, because these are voluntary organizations. I don't like the way they go. The preacher's full of it. Well, you know what? You're full of it too. Because I don't know. I don't kick it with any billionaires. Billionaires don't call my phone. So that means a lot of people who have not lived perfect and pristine lives call my phone. And if you got judgment for the preacher, well, how about the preacher have some judgment for you? But nah, you're not supposed to have any judgment. He's not supposed to judge you, right? Because you just a member, right? No, it's not right. See, what we've participated in these United States of America is mind control. We are participating in mind control at all times. mind control, because these people are telling us what to think. They're telling us what to do. They're telling us what to talk about. They're telling us how to live. They're telling us how to treat each other. Because if you're not as successful as HRAP, then what's wrong with you? Hey, well, if Monique did it, I can do it. No, again, maybe you need to call Monique and say, hey, Monique, how you do that? Phyllis, how you do that? Annette, how you do that? See, because everybody don't have the wherewithal. Everybody doesn't have the built-in intestinal fortitude to be Monique, to be Annette, to be Phyllis. See, some of us need a little help. You know, and all of y'all be telling me how you pray, you love God. Well, if you knew it all, why you praying? Are you thanking him? No, because you ain't thanking him, because the only time you thank him is when you know, like when we were children. I'm about to get a whooping. Please, God, just get me out of this. That's when you start talking to God. Oh my God, the lights getting turned off tomorrow. Oh my God, let me get a parking space. And we pray, we talk to God in those moments. But do we ask God, hey God, can you send somebody over here to help me? Because I got a whole lot of questions. We don't. We don't. That's why we lose ourselves. Because other people are telling us what to think. Other people are telling us what to do. Other people are telling us how to live. And y'all believe it. And y'all believe it. See, we don't use Monique. We don't use Phyllis. We don't use Annette. We don't use Rita. We don't use Margot. We don't use Berna. We don't use Judy. We just, they don't know. Well, they're successful, right? They're living good lives, like, right? They made the mistakes that you made, but you too uninformed. I was going to use another word. You're too uninformed or ignorant to realize they're sitting there with the answers. Because if you walk up to Monique, Phyllis, Annette, Berna, Rita, Judy, Margot, Joyce, Lorraine, Ernestine, Hattie, you walk to them, it's only one person in that conversation that ain't been 60. You. It's only one person in that conversation that ain't been 55. You. There's only one person in that conversation that ain't been 40. You. 25. You. So how you know all the answers, but they've been through it. There's nothing new under the sun. Again, back to that Bible. There's nothing new under the sun. The game never changes. It's just the players. It's the players change. Guess what? Richard Nixon behaves just like Donald J. Trump. Got us in the water nobody wanted to be in, Vietnam. Kept us in the water nobody wanted to be in, Vietnam. And then the people come back and they get disrespected and treated. Vietnam vets come back looking like one-armed pets. But see, we believe in the lies because we lose ourselves. Because if you knew who you were, you wouldn't believe a lie. You got people on TV telling the world, the reason I voted for a guy who's a suspected pedophile, a guy who's been convicted of a sexual assault, a guy who lies every other word that comes out of his mouth. He lied on Spirit Airlines today. Shout out to Spirit Airlines. They stepped up and said, he lying. He lying. He is lying. But see, we continue to believe these lies. We see, when you are so quick to believe the first thing that comes out of somebody's mouth because they have a lot of money, they have more than you, you know what that makes you? That makes you a fool. That makes you a complete fool. Because if you were thinking, you would never believe the foolishness that comes out of some of these people's mouths. You know, you're going to just see everybody loves God, right? And they dress these things up as God said, right? But did God say it, or did you just give me some of the things that God said veiled in some BS? You know, it's just like at the beginning of the Bible. At the beginning of the Bible, I told my nephew a few weeks ago, the devil will give you the message. He'll give you the truth, but he won't give you the entire truth. And that's what they do on TV. You don't believe me? That's how you do. Is look at the very first story in the book. You have Eve, Adam, in a perfect world. And Satan slides up on Eve and say, hey, how you doing? And she looking at the tree, and she's like, what's going on with this tree? Now, God already told this woman, hey, leave that tree alone. You got a perfect situation. You good. But the devil said, if you eat of that tree, you'll know what God knows. And we all want to know what our parents know. I can't wait till I'm grown. That's that whole concept. I can't wait till I'm grown. But you take a bite of that fruit, And Eve took a bite of the fruit. And guess what? She left paradise. She left perfection. She left excellence. She left, let's just say, she left 82-degree breezy days with wonderful, nice, chill drinks and chilling in the sun. And now she know anguish, she know pain, she know destitute, she knows desolence. And that's what she learned. But Satan was right. He told the truth. And that's what these people tell you. They told you the truth. They told you, we're going to run people out of the country. Oh man, these people, these migrants, these undocumented people are taking jobs. Jobs that your black behind, your white behind, your Asian behind, your Latino behind don't even want. These people who migrated here, they're in the fields making sure your fruit is still at a reasonable price. Now the fruit and vegetables through the roof. See, because you believed and you lost yourself and you wanted to be part of the system. I told you, we keep trying to date the people that don't want to date us. We keep trying to date. They don't like, hey man, rap, that's what you wearing? That's what you wearing, rap? I can't date you. You ain't sharp enough, rap. But I really like you. You got, See, black people are dirty. So we over-index in cleaning now. Black people are stupid. We over-index in academic excellence again. That's not a problem. Black people can't, and we go do it. But do we do it for ourselves? Did we do it for ourselves? Did we do it for our oppressor? See, you don't even realize when you believe these lies, when you losing yourself, and you rejecting the actual facts. You don't realize how you hurt yourself because you're being controlled by the mind, because you have the illusion of occlusion, and you don't want people to not like you. But it's okay to be not liked, because guess what? If you're doing good in your tribe, your village, your community, your culture, it's okay. You don't believe me? Come to Chicago. Anybody that's not in Chicago, come to Chicago. I'm going to take you over like the 21st and Wentworth. That's called Chinatown here in Chicago, right? And they have all Asian business, all Chinese businesses. And you walk around Chinatown, and when you walk into the restaurants or you walk into the stores, everything is in Mandarin or in Chinese. And it's in Asian writing. Walgreens is even in Asian writing. The Walgreens sign is in Asian writing in this community. And they don't care if you can read it or not, because they don't care if you like them. Because either you're going to come there and give them your money and figure it out, or they're going to keep shopping with each other and keep themselves striving. And nobody ever said, well, that's racist. When you go to Greektown, they got the subtitles. If you go on 21st Street, the stuff is in Spanish, because they don't really care if you know. They know. They don't care about you knowing. They know. They don't need you to know. So black man, black woman, black child, black elder, why do we always care what other people think about us? Because we are outside of our mind and we're mentally being controlled, because we figured out how to hate LeBron James. But see, again, I'm old enough to remember one guy by the name of Jim Brown, who was a revolutionary. Jim Brown sat on Arsenio Hall show and said Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson are disgraces to the race. All they want to do is chase white women. They don't do anything for the community. They don't open up schools. They don't marry our women. They don't do this and they don't do that. And we got this young brother by the name of LeBron James who does those things, and he's arrogant. But we love this guy by the name of Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. They openly say they're arrogant. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school team. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school team when he was a sophomore. He was trying to get on the varsity. He was only good for the junior varsity at that. He was at the age of junior varsity, but he was trying to go up a level. They didn't let him go up. He brought the guy that they replaced him with, who was a better ball player than him at that time, to his Hall of Fame speech. Said, that's what they cut me for. If that's not the most arrogant thing you've ever heard of in your life. But we're angry with this young man. We're angry with a young man who said, y'all are pimping me. I'm going to go put myself in the best situation. Each and every one of y'all. If somebody showed up at your place of employment tomorrow morning and say, I'll pay you $10 more and give you less work to do, it ain't one of y'all that'll stay unless that's your dream job. Only people stay if that's their dream job. But if you working class, you out. See, that's how they get us to hate each other. You got these podcasts. I was going to say some names, but I'm not, because that'll be exactly what I'm talking about. You got podcasts. They disrespect each other. I don't like him, and we talk about this Megan Thee Stallion and her boyfriend, and we talk about this person, this comedian don't like that comedian, this actor don't like that actor, this rapper don't like that rapper. You're not good enough. You're not dark enough. You're not black enough. They got us that look. I'm old enough again to remember the one drop rule. If you got one drop of black blood and you black, but what is it? 16 years ago, y'all tried to say Barack Hussein Obama wasn't black enough. Shout out to him for making it through it. Then about 16, 18 months ago, y'all said this lady, Vice President Harris, wasn't black enough. But next thing you know, each and every one of y'all, a lot of y'all hollering this, I got some Indian in my blood. You got some Indian in your blood, but somebody ain't black enough. Oh, Puerto Rico's just like black people. But she wasn't black enough. Well, she ain't really black. You know what? If she get pulled over by the police in a regular, and put her on a regular Chevy Impala, or put her in a regular Ford, or put her in a regular Toyota Camry, like a lot of people, her sorority was probably driving in the 90s, they gonna think she black. But you gonna say, oh, well, she don't believe in the God that I believe in. You don't know what these other people believe in. What God did the president believe in? He believe in the God that told that lady to eat that apple in that story. That's the God he believed in. But see, we don't use our mind because we're being controlled and made for the opportunity of inclusion. Hey, man, we're going to do it this way. We're going to do it that way. And you know what that makes me believe? You know what that makes me believe? We are at a lack of race pride. Oh, my God, Rap. You going for the race pride card? Yes, I am. Yep. You don't get a name like H-Rap without playing a race card. We ain't got enough race pride. Why did you say we don't have enough race pride? Because, for one, if I told you you were African, you would shun being an African. You would literally shun. I ain't no African. I'm from the United States. Well, first and foremost, every person in the history of this planet is derived from African. So everybody's African. The original people on this earth, 300,000 years ago, are African. Everything comes from darkness. So first and foremost, you're African. But I'm an African American. So you mean to tell me Elon Musk, what's the dude? Yeah, Elon Musk, the dude he was born and raised in South Africa. He's an African. So if he moved here, is he an African American? No, he's not. But you're an African who lives in America. But you don't want to do the research so you can understand the pride that you have in that. When you say you're African and you talk about God, monotheology is the first thing that comes to my mind. Monotheology. What is monotheology? The study of one God. There ain't no sun God, ain't no moon God, ain't no basketball God, ain't no football God, ain't no gambling God, ain't no player God. It ain't no bunch of gods. It's one creator. Monotheology started on the continent. Christianity started on the continent. Jesus is on the run. He ran into the land of dark faces. Guess what the land of dark faces is? Ethiopia. Guess what another word for Ethiopia is? Kush. K-U-S-H or C-U-S-H. So if he was in the land of dark faces and hiding, he couldn't have been white. And see, let's not forget, these people chopped up Africa and then they told us what it was. See, a lot of y'all, what about the Israelites? Well, Israel and Israel's over there, and Israel's were created the year before my mother was born. That Israel that you know, they were going to put it in Kenya, but if you put it in Kenya, what does it mean? If it's in Kenya, that means it's going to be brown people. And if it's brown people, that means they just like God. They just like God. That means black people might be God. So we got to put it somewhere else. And they've been fighting ever since. See, when you play with God's people and God's name, you feel the wrath of God. They've been fighting since 1947. 46, I'm sorry. My mother was born at 47. But you're not doing the research behind these things. I stand with this and I stand with that, but you won't stand with the west side of Chicago. The west side of Chicago won't stand with the south side of Chicago, but everybody black. Most of the people in these communities are black. But we won't stand with the north side of Chicago because that's a black area. We go with the east side of those people over there. But I'm not from LA. I'm not from Indiana. I'm not from Michigan. I'm not. we keep saying we're not. The southern part of the country, oh, I'm better than them. They're wrong. I had a friend whose birthday is today. Shout out to my man CBS, whose birthday today. He told me the people in the South are slow, but the people in the South, they slow. Really? Really? Is that why a lot of them own land? That's why a lot of them own their own business. That a lot of them create things. Some of the best people, some of your favorite people in the world, is Muhammad Ali. So he from the South, y'all. He from the South. He from the South. He's from the South. He's from the South. He's from the South. You got a bunch of people that you love. Like I said a couple of weeks ago, the South might save your soul because the people in the South, they have things that they've contributed to the betterment of this country. To the betterment of this country, and you denigrate them because you haven't done the research. Dr. King, one of your favorite people from the South, Malcolm Little, son of Earl Little. Earl Little's Malcolm X's father. He's from rural South Georgia. You love Malcolm Little because he became Malcolm X via Nebraska. But guess who else is from rural South Georgia? Elijah Muhammad. He was Elijah Poole at the time. See, we're not doing the research. You don't do the research. You don't get the information. You don't get the information. Then you just walk around saying things. Some of the, again, George Washington Carver from Tuskegee. Yeah. See, some of the best people, some of the most creative minds, some Julian Bond, Andrew Young, the list goes on. Rap Brown, the dude who I stole my name from, stole his name. Yeah, it was put on me, but I kept it, so I'm using it. So I stole it. I ain't talked to Rap. I ain't talked to H Rap. I put the word together. H Rap. He was H Rap, and I'm H Rap. But I stole it. But hey, I'm using it properly. See, we're not setting forth the effort to be great. See, we've accepted mediocrity as an order of day. See, I just can't do that. See, they're not going to do that, so there's no need to. Again, see, this is what's wrong. What's right? This is what's right. I'm going to tell you right before I go, because that was my son. I got to go. I'm going to tell you what's right with the Black community. We're the greatest job creators in this country. We're the greatest. I'm going to say it again. We're the greatest job creators in this country. There's going to be some negative things in this greatest job thing and some positive things. We create jobs like court clerk because we're in survival mode, because we create judges, we create police officers, we create sheriffs, we create correctional officers in the jails because we are in survival mode. But we also create jobs at McDonald's, Burger King, and all the fast food chains because that's where we're going. That's where we create jobs in the grocery stores, whether it's Jewel Osco here in Chicago, or Pete's here in Chicago, or whatever grocery store, Food for Less here in Chicago. We create jobs there because we keep shopping there. We create jobs at the video game country. We create jobs at Nike. We create jobs at Adidas. We create jobs at whoever made this t-shirt, Gregory. We create jobs at the hoodie factory. We continue to create jobs because we create things like record executives. We create jobs like a road manager. We create jobs like record company owner. We create radio jobs because we keep creating new ways to entertain ourselves. We movie creators, but guess what? Script writers. We create these things, but we don't benefit from these things because we're trying to integrate ourselves into a situation that does not want us. We continue to do it. And why do we continue to do it? Because we don't have enough. We got like a race pride. See, because when you love yourself, then you find out more about yourself. And if you can affiliate yourself with the neighborhood drug dealer, because that's where I'm from. You know where else you're from? You're from Mississippi, Alabama, Arkansas. That's where most people in Chicago are from, Mississippi, Alabama, Arkansas. By and large, it's all over the South, but that's where we're from primarily. And then like 42% of the people in America came through South Carolina. Black people came through South Carolina. So you got some people over there too. But guess what? Oh, by the way, before they start offering those land grants, more than 52% of the Black people in South Carolina were Black. The people. So that lets you know that was the gateway from the South. People like Charlemagne, the God, he 82% Nigerian. That only happens one way. But back to the point. See, when you have pride in your race, you have pride in your race, you got pride in your family, you got pride in your family, you got pride in your parents, you got pride in your parents, you got pride in yourself. So how many people grew up saying, I can't wait to go disappoint my mama? Nobody. So if you're living to be the best example of your parents, and your parents living to be the best example of your grandparents, that's called race pride. That's called family pride, culture pride, community pride, pride of yourself. See, when you love that person in the mirror, if you love that person in the mirror, you'll love everybody. Because if you don't love yourself, you can't love nobody. If you don't know yourself, then you are nobody. Shout out to Chuck D. So I want us to understand these mental chains can be broken, but you must do the research. You must do the work. The first part of the work is finding out who you are, how you got here. Talk to your parents, talk to your grandparents. Where you come from, where we come from, where most of our family come from. Do you got brothers and sisters? How was your life? And you just build upon that. Guess what? You have some tools and some talents that you don't even know about. There's a person in your family who was an inventor. There was a person in your family who was an entrepreneur. There's a person in your family that was probably a gainful criminal. But guess what? He was a successful one. So find out about those too. See, we don't need to just tell the glory days. We need to tell the ugly stories too. Because see, our young people, they're walking around, they're deer right now. Our entire community, we are filled with deer. What do I mean that we're deer? Deer in North America have no natural predators. So we're standing in the light. We're about to get run over because we don't know the move. See, we don't talk about the history of this country. You always say, see, I'm going to drop a gem on you, then I'm going to walk away. No, you can't do that anymore because your children are being raised in a world that has told them that you don't have no problems. All you have to do is work. But see, when people used to be able to drop a bug on you there because everybody knew that we were under attack. We were public enemy number one. We were living in worlds, no Italians, no Jews, no dogs, no N-words. I'm getting that word out of my vocabulary. I say it a lot. I say it way too much. But that's where we used to come from. So we knew it wasn't no bug in your ear. I'm going to try to give you this little bit and you figure it out later. Think now, figure it out. No. Hell no. We can't do that anymore. What we have to do is educate our people on this is what was going on. And you are in imminent danger. Next week's episode, imminent danger. Tap in because I got to cut this one short because I got to tend to my son. I got to tend to some family business. What I have to do is let you know the danger that you're in every day. With that being said, watch this to the very end. You're going to see a news flash thing and then you're going to see the end. I want you to hear it from Dr. Amos Wilson and just got to hear it from me. So you don't want to be equal to people who have oppressed you because if you're equal to an oppressor, then you're going to try to be like the oppressor. And that's our problem. We continue to try to be like the oppressor. We want money. I got mine, you got to get yours. No. If God, and I'm out after this, if God wanted me to get mine and you to get yours, why didn't he make me be able to paint, sing, dance? Why didn't he make me be an architect? Why did he make me be a plumber, an electrician, and everything in between? A technology wizard? He didn't give me that. He gave me the ability to elocute and be loquacious. I'm loquacious. I speak in paragraphs. That's my gift. That I can look at something, I can read something, process it, and give it to people. I can speak the King's English to the Queen's taste, or I can get down dirty and speak in the gutter. Either way, I'm going to get my thoughts across. I'm going to get everything in here out to you if you allow me. Hit that like, hit that share, tell a friend, and type in anytime you want to. This H-Rap. I need you to tune in next week so I can show you the power of the greatness that we have. Again, if God wanted me to get mine and you to get yours, he wouldn't have made everybody interchangeable pieces. He wouldn't have made it so Brian has a whole bunch of ideas. Annette lifted up Brian to a point. Phyllis lifts up Brian to a point. Monique tells Brian, you got this. The three generals that I spoke about will uplift me to my rightful place on the throne. The three generals I told you about, they got my back. And if God didn't want them to help me, he wouldn't have put them in my life. And if he didn't want you to help people, he wouldn't have had you tap in. And if he had you tap in, that means you owe God the right to help people. All I got to say is watch this to the end. I'm H-Rap. This is the End of the Bench Media. This is God is Community, because without God, there is no community. And the community will only thrive through God. 2 fingers, 1 word. I'm H-Rap, and I am
And it is necessary for those people who rule over us and who rule over African people the world over, if those people are to stay in power, they must destroy our ability to love each other in a healthy sort of way. This is why